Today on the Charge Up, men's and women's basketball honored their seniors. Softball played down in sunny Myrtle Beach, and we have an exclusive interview with the new men's soccer coach, Brian Quinn. It's all coming up on the Charge Up. Hello everyone, welcome to the Charge Up. I'm James Cassidy, and with me today is Devin Maida, Chris DiGeronimo, and Ethan Cardona. What's going on, everybody?
Good to be here.
It was a great weekend in sports.
Let's get it started.
It really was. Let's get to the action. Men's basketball went wire to wire Saturday, defeating St. Rose 73-54 at Charger Gymnasium. Guys, what did we see from the Chargers in this big win?
Real quick, this was not planned. Just want to make that preface it real quick. Just coincidence. But we saw just a dominant performance by the men's Chargers team last Saturday, which was fantastic. The St. Rose had no answer for the Chargers. We were way too balanced. The depth really showed in this game. We were like Hydra. You cut one head and two grew back. Like, it didn't matter what combination of five we had on the court at the time. That St. Rose had no answer for us.
Yeah, we just really took care of business against a really weak St. Rose team. We showed our dominance with our starting five. It was just a great overall performance.
Yeah, it was a great complete game for us. It was something, the Chargers needed to see. They've been on fire since coming out of the break at the end of the semester. They're 12-3. And with just 2 games left, they really need to hone in and get wins against teams like St. Rose to be able to compete and host playoff games.
I think we really saw a great performance out of Roy Kane Jr., who we've mentioned him a lot on this show as someone that could really step up for this men's basketball team and be another scorer on the team along with Elijah Bailey. And I think this game, even though he only put up 14 points and 8 boards, it was really one of the more complete games we've seen from him this entire year. He was a force on the defensive end and on the offensive end, and just made plays that helped this team continue on their run.
He was able to do it all, and it's another guy that a team has to worry about. I mean, you think when you're going against Chargers, you think of Elijah Bailey and Derek Rowland, but now you got to worry about Roy Kane Jr. and even a guy like Kesley Felizor, who's kind of compare him to Roy Kane Jr. They're kind of similar.
Yeah,
they're interchangeable. It's the same player, so it's like you put one in, take one out, it's like the same guy still out there. You got to worry about
Or
him.
you can play both of them at the same time, and they just do the same things equally. So you got 10 points each, 10 rebounds each, so just a great overall combination of two great players.
Very true.
And going back to your point about Roy Kane Jr., this play right here will show that on the defensive end, he stole the ball, and they came down and slammed it down on the other end. So a great example of how they turned defense to offense on Saturday.
Yeah, and I think he doesn't get enough credit. When you think of the bigs of this team, you think of Najee Larcher, you think of Kesley Felizor. He's really that kind of all-around player that you see him take the ball up the floor, but then you can also see him back down in the post. He can get you baskets all around the floor. He can shoot the three.
Yep.
I personally think it's that number 2 jersey. When he transferred from the 11 to the 2, we don't know what the reason is, but wearing that 2 jersey at home the last few games, he's really turned it on. So maybe it's the secret stuff in number 2.
The deuce. The deuce.
Really is.
Yeah, going back to your point about how they've been on fire since they came back from break, over the last 3 games combined, including the loss against Adelphi, they're shooting 50% from the field and 41% from 3. So that's incredible shooting, taking great shots, and making baskets.
Yeah, I think that Southern game was big for us. I think we really realized that was a team that we knew if we didn't beat them, we'd be in trouble for the playoffs. They were able to step up, and I think that really, not really turned the season around, but definitely put them into another gear.
I agree. And let's hope to see them keep it on. Men's basketball will return to the court Saturday when they take on American International. Tip-off is set for 3:30 p.m.
Women's basketball snapped their 2-game losing streak Saturday, defeating St. Rose 55-37. Guys, what factors played a role in this win?
Well, obviously it's the defense. They allowed St. Rose to score only 2 points in the third quarter. So that's pretty impressive. So it was really incredible to see how they've been playing the defense over the last 5 games. To have it translate to that great defense on Saturday was really incredible to watch.
Yeah, that first quarter, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It didn't look great. We were down. And, they started to pick it up in the second quarter, but it was the second half they really turned it around on both ends of the floor. You saw shots really starting to fall, and you also saw the defense getting back, stopping them in transition, and just totally shutting down the Golden Knights.
And I think that's a really important thing is because as we've seen in some of the losses for the women's basketball team this year, it's usually been around the second, third quarters where they can have a lead or not have the lead and then just lose the game completely. And to see them actually fighting hard in these quarters and actually kind of coming back in the second half and winning a game, I think that's a great sign for this team going into these last couple of games during the season and what they could do if they make postseason.
And what was nice about this last game is it was one of the first games I've seen where Alex Kerr, the star of this team, didn't really have much of a great game shooting-wise, but we saw players like Cameron DeBois step up and led the team with 16 points. We also had Kadia Oje, who had a double-double with 11 rebounds, 12 points. So that's great to see that we have other ladies stepping up in the absence of Kerr, who was not very good from three-point range, where she can do some damage. She was 0 for 5 from three-point, but that's what a good, complete team does. Is when the one player is down, two more take the space.
I think Kerr's performance is kind of synonymous with her career here on her senior day, because she didn't have a great game scoring, but she did a lot of things to compensate that. She had 9 rebounds and 3 steals, so obviously helping the team in other ways when she knows that she's not shooting well.
And I think, what we really see is something we haven't seen out of this team is they were actually doing pretty well from the line. They were hitting free throws in this game, which we talked about it last week. If you're not hitting the free points, you're not going to win games.
Yep.
And they did it. They hit the free points, and look what happened. They won the game.
Yeah.
Another thing we talked about last week was that three-point shooting. Cameron DeBose had three three-pointers. And as you can see here from this play, she hit a great 3.
Yep.
And it was just a great performance from her and a great overall performance from the team, too.
Yeah, they stepped up. There was one section where Cameron, I think, scored like 7 straight points, back-to-back threes. She just went off in the third quarter, and it really showed. It really picked up the team. Yeah. The crowd got into it, and it just really led to that win.
And they were also able to have 21 points off of turnovers, which is huge. So they were not only playing really good defense, they were capitalizing it on offense, which was really great to see.
Yeah, honestly, that looks back to the games that they had early on in the season where they were forcing like over 20 turnovers a game, and they were turning those turnovers into a good amount of points. And I think, like I said earlier, that kind of stat really shows that if that defense is on, they can honestly stand up to any team in the NE10 if they play defense like that.
Yeah, and going back to when they lost on Wednesday, they also had a great performance offensively, but they lost, obviously. But, it was great to see them taking the stuff from that game and bringing it on Saturday.
All right, well, women's basketball will look to keep the momentum going Saturday when they take on American International. Tip-off is set for 1:30 p.m.
On Thursday, February 14th, Director of Athletics Chris Palmer announced the hiring of men's soccer coach Brian Quinn. Ethan spoke with Coach Quinn to discuss his plan for the future of the program.
Coach, thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Welcome to the university.
Thank you very much.
So what made you choose here over any other college, and what made you leave Southern?
Well, Southern, it was my second time through, and really I was there helping out more than anything else, which I was happy to do, and my full-time attention was kind of in the youth sector for the past few years. So when this opportunity opened up, it caught my eye right away. Obviously Division II soccer is a level of soccer that I'm very familiar with the NCAA. Familiarity with the with the league and some of the schools, especially the top end schools in the league. That was something that I felt comfortable with. And then it was about the people. Looking at the university, I had some friends that I'd spoken to about it, and they said really good things about the athletic department, and the leadership of Chris Palmer was key too. So everything kind of just seemed like a good fit. Plus it's pretty close to where I live, and that was easy. I didn't have to relocate and go through all that hassle. So in that sense, it was perfect.
Yeah, that's always a perk with job searches, is being able to
Absolutely.
not have to pick
Absolutely.
up and go. You mentioned the familiarity. So what do you think staying in the NE10 is going to do to benefit you as a coach and benefit the team this season?
Well, it's not like you're starting from scratch, and trying to figure everything out. Coaches, programs, universities, their style, doesn't change, fundamentally. Somewhat with the, with the coaching staff changes, but there's a number of the schools that have had, coaches that have been in positions for a while. Southern, Bentley, those guys have been there quite a long time. Pierce just made a change this year, and Southern New Hampshire's was a few years back, but I don't think altogether the style and the approach of the program has changed. So there was a good bit of familiarity with those types of teams, plus others that I kind of really was introduced to during that second stint at Southern. So it was a good comfort level, going into approaching the type of soccer that we're going to have to play and approach to different aspects of their play that you're going to try and work against. So it was a good seamless fit, I felt, going into this environment against these teams.
Nice. So what do you think your goals are going to be going into your inaugural season here at New Haven?
Well, ultimately you want to win more games. You want to have some success, but I think both me and hopefully the staff, when we get it together, we're going to measure success differently than just wins and losses. There's going to be little aspects of the program that we're trying to improve on the field, off the fields, and it's important, I think, that we communicate that with the players and they understand that it's not just going to be about wins and losses. It's going to be a process to change things and get things going in a different direction, and as long as they're pushing and we're moving in the right direction, then it's going to be successful. Nice. And it's not just going to be about how many more wins do we have than last season.
Have you actually gotten to sit down and meet with the team, talk to them?
Yes. Last Monday, got a great opportunity to sit down with them. They were coming out of lifting, and we sat down and just sat on the floor and just kind of introduced myself and talked to them. And it was a really good conversation. The guys were engaged. They were into it. They were really good about giving ideas and things that they liked and things that they didn't like. And so that's going to be helpful. And that type of communication, I think, is going to be vital. And then last Friday, we had our first session out on the field, so that was the first chance to really see them up close and personal, which is considerably different than seeing video of games, from the past season. Okay. So that was the two big introductions I had last week.
You may not know this, but the playoffs for our team in men's soccer has not been great. We've only had one appearance since joining the NE10 in 2008.
Right.
Do you think that puts any pressure on you going in to win now?
Well, there's always pressure. So yeah, there is a pressure. I think that's a benchmark that you want to try and reach, every year, and hopefully, moving forward, that can become a minimum benchmark. And then, you look at things like, advancing in the tournament. You look like getting to the finals of the tournament, and then potentially, beyond that, down the road, NCAAs. So yeah, I think that is definitely a kind of a pressure, but it's not an immense pressure that's going to overwhelm anybody, I think, on the coaching staff or on the playing staff either.
Well, Coach, best of luck this season.
Yeah, thanks.
To you and the team. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you. Softball went down to sunny Myrtle Beach to participate in the Snowbird Freeze-Out. They went 3-2 over their 5 games, defeating Clarion, Felician, and Slippery Rock. Guys, what do we see from the team to start the season?
We saw some solid pitching from the Chargers. We had, Ava Fitzmaurice, the freshman pitcher, who's going to be taking over as the ace position. When she had a pretty solid showing for her first couple of games. She had to pitch in every game, though. I mean, that's good work for her. And we saw that, and we saw plenty of run production as well. And the game 2 against Felician, the Chargers had 12 walks, so Felician had a little problem with control, so we took advantage of creating plenty of base runners and getting on base and turn that into runs.
Yeah, you mentioned the offense. Giovanna Hillman, 3 hits, 1 home run, 6 RBI. So she's continuing what she did last year. She's a great, continuing off her great freshman year and bringing it into her sophomore year. And then we got Melissa Bike, 400 batting average, 6 hits, 4 runs. 4 of those hits were doubles and 4 RBIs. So obviously a lot of people contributing and getting this offense underway.
I think that's the biggest key, is that there was a lot of people that had good games depending on the game. It shows that the depth on the softball team is really good this year. That in the pitching, they're working on it. It's freshman pitchers that both actually pitch pretty well, and there's things to work on. It's beginning of the season, and they'll get better. But the offense looks great early on, and the depth of the offense looks really good.
Yeah, very balanced approach by the Chargers. They were able to not only hit the long ball and create extra base hits, they were also stealing bases, playing some small ball. If they can get a nice balance between small ball and power ball, it's going to be a tough team to beat.
Yeah, we mentioned that last week when you said that they need to do play small ball, and they showed that, they did that. So hopefully it continues throughout the season.
You think about the pitching, like you mentioned, is big. The loss of Meg Butts, who's projected to not really play this season due to injury. You now have 2 freshmen that are going to step up and be your pitchers, Maya Idice and Ava Fitzmaurice. And Ava really stepped up. Like you said, 3-1, a 2 ERA, 21 innings pitched to open her collegiate career. In the course of 3 days, she was solid. 16 strikeouts for her. She really stepped up, and that contributed. Coach Starrick earned her 400th win on Sunday with the win over Slippery Rock. And the team really showed that they can fight in the NE10 this year. In their 3 wins, softball outscored their opponents 33-8. So you can see the run support is there.
Yeah.
Ava was solid on the mound. This looks like it could be a good year for the softball
Yeah, when
team.
they're on,
I
they're
agree.
on. So you better watch out.
Hopefully they put it all together.
Yep. Softball will take the field again March 1st for their home opener against St. Thomas Aquinas. First pitch is set for 2 p.m.
Well, that's all we have for you this week. To catch live streaming of Charger Sports, visit newhavenchargers.com. And for up-to-date campus news, visit thechargerbulletin.com. I'm James.
I'm Devin.
I'm Chris.
I'm Ethan, and we'll catch you next week on
The
The
Charge
Charge
Up.
Up.